Good morning, good morning. There's no one here, but that's fine. I'm going to be talking to myself. uh, I hope you're well today. Oh my God, look at my charts. It's all messy. This is basically my brain on a chart. I don't even know what anything is. Oh my God. 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 Lots of oh my gods. Let's get rid of all that rubbish. Yep, I said we should short. I was right. It's once in a while. And wait. Get rid of this rubbish. Okay, that was my original idea. And that's my fib levels. Okay, we're coming into an important level now. Have the speed fan, that's quite important. All right. Basically, we're good. Let me see what else we got. High time frame levels. We've lost the weekly level. Oops. That's not good. Gonna have to reclaim that weekly level. Got the range. We've lost some really important levels. In a gist, what I'm seeing in the charts is a lot of weakness, actually. Much weaker than I expected. That's the truth. Much more bearish than I thought. So this is something to bear in mind. Yeah, that's your V. It's your V. Oh God, what? It's a red. Suddenly went from. There you go. That's better. Oh, that's your V. And I was expecting some kind of down move. I think this was okay. I thought maybe he would just kind of do this, go sideways a little bit, and what we're seeing is a little bit of a sharp sell-off. Okay, a little bit of a sharper sell-off. So my I'm thinking maybe this, but the problem with this idea is that it goes on for too long. That's pretty extended. The depth is correct, but the extension is too much, and that's why I was thinking to myself, that was the original idea. We've come back into that level. This, and actually that didn't work because it wasn't able to hold this area of interest. You see that? It should have, and maybe what happened was that it did, but it did it much quicker. You see, it came down, it came up. So you see, rather than being so prolonged, maybe it's one. Is that is this here? This one here? This is quite a sharp correction. I'm not fond of it, to be honest with you. It's quite a sharp, deep correction. I wanted it to be a little bit more, a little less angled, a little less steep. So I'm not fond of the way the price is correcting right now. And you could argue, well, look, that was the down. Look, down, up, down. Is that the up? And are we going down now? And is that it? I don't think so. It's not great. It's not looking great at the moment. And what you can see here in this area of interest is a head and shoulders pattern. See that? Head and shoulders. Tested the neckline. And unless the price can get back into the neckline now, then there's going to be, it's going to be really bearish. So I think the V is still in play, but this correction is looking really problematic for this V. I think it kind of gives you an idea that there isn't really much interest. Actually, that's what I'm getting. It's the sense I'm getting. There's not much interest, but I don't know. There was a lot of interest to push it up, make a higher high. That's what this was. That was a higher high, and we're having a really horrible sell-off. And so really it's got to come to find support. We have to see where the support is. I think for all intents purposes, you don't really want to go under the 50% mark. And the slower the better. Okay, so this is the fib retracement. That's your 50% mark, 67.99. And really you want to get there quite gently. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there too quickly. Yeah, you don't want it to be a sharp, harsh correction. You want it to be very gentle, very nice, very easy. Bam. That's what you want. Yeah, and it can be anything really. My idea was some kind of 3 drives pattern, but we're seeing a much sharper sell-off, as you can see, and the price is just basically struggling to hold levels. That's a real problem. It's a real problem for bullishness. It's not a problem if for shorting. As you can see, we've lost the value area of this local higher range. It looks like a head and shoulders pattern. It looks like the neckline's been tested. So it's going to be very easy to see strength return to Bitcoin. Very easy. Just get back up there. Yeah, get back up there. You're back into strength. Yeah, it's gonna, right now, looking at the way the chart has been forming, to invalidate a head and shoulders requires strength. Get back into the neckline, change market structure. You know, that's going to require strength. You could still see another push down, but at least that's more in line with my idea of some kind of 3 drives push. 1, and so right now I'm thinking that for that to work out, if that's your first push, this is your second push, we really have to get up there for a 3rd push like that by the end of the week. That really is, just looking at the way this price is moving, that's kind of what needs to happen. And I have no idea. I always say that. We haven't even hit the 1-to-1 of this push, actually. So I am thinking it could possibly go down a little bit further yet before it comes back up. That would make sense. 1, 2, 1, all the way back up there for the final push down. This actually would make sense. I did say you have to get a little bit bearish before you can become bullish, but this is actually looking extremely bearish right now. Doesn't mean you should sell here. It's just something to bear in mind. It's just something to bear in mind. Something to keep a tab on. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to really go below 50%, which is here, which is about 60. And the main reason why I don't want to go below 50%, because it wouldn't really, it'd be too hard to get back up. I think if you go down, if you go down to this golden pocket, sure, people are going to long that, but they're just going to take their profit, you know. And a lot of people are longing, and the deeper it goes, the more inclined they're going to be to exit, and that's all going to be trapped liquidity. And so really you don't want to go down too far, and we do want to get back up. It's a lot better to do this because it gives people a chance to clear their liquidity, so that when we do finally whatever explode, it's going to be a lot easier. The deeper you go right now, the harder it is going to be to explode, and you could end up with, you know, something limp. You could really end up like that. You could end up like that. There's no reason to think V-shape, yes, but there's no reason to think that it can't go down. You know, this is really important that people realize that patterns can fail, and while we don't contemplate failure, while levels are holding, support levels are holding, yeah, the minute you start losing levels, and the minute you start losing levels easily, then you have to start thinking about the failure of a pattern. Yeah. And so naturally, looking at these candles, I think it's terrible that we've closed back into this candle. You see how that there, you see how the 12-hour candles close back into that candle. So I'd like to see how this candle, this 12-hour closes. I think I'd like to see this 12-hour close back above that level. A little fake out, that would be okay. Good morning, JS. I don't like that we've closed into this candle, the body of this candle here. I don't like that. This 12-hour candle is not looking pretty, and now we basically have a few more hours to just get back up. If you don't, then I probably think the price is going to go all the way down, the very least till there, and then it's going to look really dreadful. This is going to look extremely, this isn't going to look like a V-shaped recovery anymore. Yeah, there's a V, but the correction is going to be too deep, and then it's going to be really difficult to get back up. Yeah, so it could still go back up, but then it would have to be some kind of prolonged something. You know, you'd have to really have an explode. Like it'd be quite difficult. It wouldn't be easy. Okay, so right now I'm thinking to myself, unless we can get back up quite quickly and reverse this downward momentum which we're experiencing right now, maybe it can happen. No one can predict the price action. It's just speculative right now and based on probabilities. We have this fib retracement. We have a head and shoulders pattern formed here with the neckline tested there. So it's going to be quite easy to see strength. We just have to get back into the pattern, and basically we have to get back into the volume area, which is, you see, is the neckline. You see that? So exactly where the neckline is. The price can get back into there, then that's okay. You know, then we can potentially contemplate a much gentler correction, which is what you want to see. You don't want to see a really strong move down right now. You want to see a very gentle correction, and actually what you really want to see is decreasing volume. I don't know what the volume's like. Let me have a look. You can see that there's somewhat decreasing volume, so that's not bad. That's not a bad sign. All we need now is just the price to not fall so deeply, so quickly. And I think that's quite important. Also, head and shoulders are pretty bearish pattern. So you'd expect a massive sell-off. If you don't see that, maybe this is what it was. Maybe we're seeing the massive sell-off now. But really, the bulls need to prove themselves. Otherwise, I do feel that we could probably go down much further quicker. And I'm not fond of that idea. I'm not fond of that idea. I'd prefer more of a gentle correction, a little bit more prolonged, just showing me that people are trying to buy, and they're trying to hold the price up, and they're trying to get in. They're trying to get involved because they think the price of Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. Yeah, that's going to be reflected in price action. Yeah, the behavior of people buying and selling is going to be reflected in price action. And so right now, I think possibly we could go down a little bit more. I'll be looking at Slurf, because I think Slurf is leading Bitcoin. And yesterday I had an idea of it going down, and it's going down. We're coming into support at the moment, so we're getting a little bit of support. Actually, looking at Slurf, all I've done on this graph now, it looks quite messy, it's like a spider web, but all I've really done is put GAN fans and speed fans. Yeah, it should really be on the normal chart. That's all I've really done, nothing really fancy, just very ordinary. Just to see how the price is moving. Let me just adjust it a little bit. That's the GAN. Let me get rid of the GANs. Actually, I prefer the speed fans for now. These are the speed fans from pivot to pivot. And from pivot to pivot. Pivot to pivot. They're a bit thick. Let me just kind of adjust this. It's thick. To be. Oh, I don't know how to do that. All right, never mind. Right. So we've also lost this trend line here. So I was kind of thinking we come down here. Actually, maybe the GAN is better. I see that the speed fans are reacting. You see there's a reaction there, reaction there, reaction there, reaction there. And on the top side as well. Maybe the GAN is better. Let me have a look at the GAN fans. GAN you do use log. And again you can use log. And it's slightly different. Go back to regular. Just adjust these pivots. And put them all back in actually. Let me just have a look. Yeah, there's no real. I was getting good. Yeah, it's looking pretty miserable actually. So I think Slurf is leading, and right now you can see that Slurf is looking extremely weak, and effectively that's just showing you that Bitcoin is weak. You know, these meme coins, they represent or they reflect market sentiment, because if the market is feeling bullish, guess what people do? They buy meme coins, they speculate on meme coins. Yeah, when you see that meme coins are selling off like this, what does that tell you about the market? People aren't interested. Why? Because everything is bearish. Yeah, so while I actually still think that we could be correcting, that's your V, and you have some sort of correction here. That's what I'm thinking. At the moment you can see it's pretty bearish. It's looking extremely bearish. You've got the same idea here. You've got like a head and shoulders pattern, neckline break. We're coming to the end of the measured move. but there hasn't, you know, like it hasn't found support. You can clearly see it hasn't found support. Yeah, you've got good volume down, you've got good volume up, but still you can tell that there's no sentiment for buying this token right now. Yeah, you can clearly tell that. You can clearly see that it hasn't found support. No one is really buying this. The bears are clearly in control, and that is totally a reflection of Bitcoin. Yeah, so Bitcoin, exactly the same thing. It's all bearish, 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 and they're basically, Slurf is basically leading Bitcoin at the moment in terms of understanding the sentiment of the market. We had a brief opportunity for Slurf to show a bit of strength earlier on this morning. I was looking at it. Here you can see it was trying to change 5-minute market structure. It went down here to make a lower low here. It went to make a higher high here, and then it went up to push up, and look, lower high and down. Failure. So there was an attempt to change market structure here, and it failed. As soon as it failed, pull back, immediately sold off. Okay, so there was an attempt to change market structure. That would have been a sign of strength, to change market structure, but it failed. There was a clear failure there. Immediate sell-off. That sell-off and Bitcoin coincided, except Slurf was leading it. So while you see Bitcoin was only going back into the lows, Slurf was actually pushing down to make lower lows. And as you can see with Bitcoin, it's still bearish market structure. We're making lower highs, lower lows. Yeah, and effectively what you need now is you need to take out, let me see which one we need to take out. Higher, that's the higher. Let me see. Lower low. Yeah, I mean it's still quite a distance. We still need to go up there. Yeah, that's the pivot, because you came in here to make a lower low. It went up there to make a lower high. Now we've made a lower low. Unless now we can make another lower low here, that would be the test. Oh, let me see actually. Is there a lower low here? Not really, no. They're kind of equidistant. No. So unless we go now and make a lower low, then to change market structure, you still have to go above that pivot there. Okay, so it's honestly, it's unfortunately looking extremely bearish. It's hard to long, and it's also difficult to short. It's difficult to short because you're shorting into support, and it's difficult to long because the price action is looking extremely weak. Yeah, we are on top of support, as you can see. We're on this 382, but we're hugging it, and that's not a good sign. And unless we get some kind of change here, then I think it's more likely than not we head down a bit lower. Unfortunately, that's kind of what it's looking like right now. I think Slurf is leading, and you look at Slurf, can't see any strength in Slurf. That would probably be the first indication of strength, to see Slurf take out this high here. That's the low. If we see Slurf come up there and then go up, then I think everything changes, because you'll see that the market sentiment is now back to bullish. Slurf would lead the way. We'll see that very clearly, and then probably Bitcoin will follow. And so that actually right now you can see that there's continuing weakness in Slurf, and I'm using that as a guide to indicate whether the markets are bullish or bearish. And at the moment it's extremely bearish. I still have an eye on these lows here for a long, and so I've got that in mind. Let me see how I did this. Can't remember. So that's broken now. Get rid of that. Look at this one. Yeah, maybe actually just into this lower fan here. To be honest with you, just here. Doesn't have to be so low. Like there. See that one? That's gone. Let's get rid of that. That's gone. See this? Rubbish. Rubbish. That was it. I don't know, because actually you have this line here as well. It's a hard one, huh? You could swing failure these lows just to continue down, and it'd be really difficult to catch the bottom. I'm gonna have to have a look at this. So in a gist, I think Bitcoin is looking extremely weak, and I can't see any hope. Unfortunately. Let me have a look at, oh god, I'm not even showing the right screen. What the hell? How annoying is that? I've been doing all this analysis and I'm on the wrong screen. What an idiot. Shit. Alright, I'm gonna have to redo everything. Why didn't you tell me? That's fine. Now that here we are on the right screen, let me have a look at the order flow. Some shorts here. Oh god, can't believe I did that again. So annoying. Right. Gary, Hardy morning. I was literally on the wrong screen and I was doing all this like amazing analysis and I was on the wrong screen. So anyway, so I have to start all over. What an idiot. I'm an idiot. So stupid. All right. Let's go back to the beginning. So in a gist, without really complicating anything, you have your up move from here to here. Okay. Are you off work? Looking for buy targets? Oh my god. All right. Well, I can help you. Maybe I can help you a little bit. Let me just kind of give you my analysis on Bitcoin right now. I see extreme weakness in Bitcoin, right? I've got my fib pool and we've got our fib levels. And what we've created, unfortunately, is a head and shoulders pattern here with a break and a neckline test. That's your neckline, right? And so we're seeing a little bit of weakness here. And I think this is a lot weaker than I expected. I was thinking to myself, a little less aggressive correction, and actually it's been quite aggressive. And I don't really want to see the price come all the way down to the golden pocket. I think it's too deep. It could always come down to golden pocket, but I think it would be quite deep to come all the way down to the golden pocket. Yeah, I think the problem with the golden pocket is that people will long it and then they'll take profit, and you're going to get people who are longing all of this down move trapped, and you're going to end up with sell pressure as we go up. So I was thinking to myself, what would have been better is a much less aggressive correction with decreasing volume, just to come back to the 50%. We, you know, like not really so aggressively deep. Yeah. And so obviously right now what we're experiencing is a little bit of an aggressive sell-off. Yeah. It's obviously it's not as aggressive as this, but you know, in the context is a V-shaped recovery, so people should be bullish, people should be buying. Yeah, people shouldn't be waiting for lower, they should be FOMOing in and thinking this is it, this is the last correction before a major shift move to the upside. Yeah, that sentiment hasn't really reflected in the charts. I don't see that psychology in the buying and selling. Okay, so that's quite concerning, because if people aren't feeling that, they're waiting for lower, then you'll actually it'll become problematic, because then they'll buy and then they'll get trapped and they'll sell, and then they'll sell, and then you'll get a lower low. You'll get a kind of situation like that where people will wait for lower thinking that they've got a really amazing position, but because what happens is as the price comes down, you get trapped traders, you get trapped liquidity who don't have really wide invalidations, and they'll scale back their position as the price comes up. And also people who are scalping or day trading will take profits, and also people who are just generally bearish will short. So the lower we go, the harder it's going to be, I think, to bounce out of this. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a good idea to go so low. Yeah, I think what we need, what the price action needs to show us is a much less aggressive correction with decreasing volume, rather than an aggressive correction where it's just pushing the price down, down, down. Okay, if we see that, I think it's going to be quite hard to snap out of this, honestly. And it wouldn't be hard to see anyway. It's never hard to see strength return after you see weakness, because all you have to do is reclaim levels. Yeah, but right now I can't even see levels being defended by bullish price action, to be honest with you. Look at this, look how poor that is. This is pretty poor. Yeah, it's weak, it's not strong, unfortunately. I'm not seeing crazy strength here at the moment. Everything could change, but I can't see it right now. I might have preferred a little bit more range bound behavior. And then obviously after we've lost it, I'd like to see a bounce back up, you know. If we get another move down, I'd like to see a bounce back up, you know. And that's why I was originally thinking. I was thinking we could possibly have some kind of 3 drives. That would make sense. I was thinking a little bit more prolonged, not so aggressive. That's what I was thinking. And then now I'm looking at what I was thinking in the charts. It did go down to this area, but it came down much quicker. See, it came down to there. It did go up to my area, and then it has come down to here, but it's done it really quickly. And so now I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, now what? Is it going to go back up? And then are we going to go down? And is this a really steep correction? And then what happens next? Then the other thing that I'm thinking about is this 12-hour candle. So generally when it comes to candles, I'm not fond, personally, I'm not fond of candles like this. So you see this red candle, this previous 12-hour candle, you see how it's closed into this this 12-hour candle, this long 12-hour candle here. Yeah, you see how it's closed underneath this wick, and it's actually closed into the body of this candle here. The probability now is, if we can't close this 12-hour back above this yellow line, the probability is that we fill the whole candle. This candle fills all the way down to somewhere here. That's the probability of this candle filling. Yeah, you see that? You've closed into the body of that candle. You've closed underneath that wick. If we can't get back out, morning, David, then I think we're going to struggle. Actually, I really think we're going to struggle. We're going to fill that gap. Okay. When you see that, then this actually starts to look extremely bearish. If that was to happen, if you fill that gap and you close down here, yeah, with another big sell-off, creating some gaps in the way, volume gaps, then you actually end up with a really bearish reversal. And even if people long, it will just get sold into, and then you're attacking the lows. Yeah, this continues. This idea continues. You make a new low, and guess what's going to happen? Honestly, if we make a new low here, I'm expecting 44,000. There's no reason why this little crop of nothing is going to hold the price after you change market structure on a daily time frame. After we've experienced 3 failed auctions at the highs and a failed V-shaped recovery is extremely bearish. Yeah, it's a V-shaped recovery is bullish until you fail, and then it becomes extremely bearish. And this is obviously I'm not saying it's happened or it's happening, but I'm saying that I didn't expect this correction to be so strong. I wanted this to be much less aggressive, and it just gives you a reflection of market sentiment. Sentiment isn't yet FOMO-y. Yeah, I guess people are just a little bit too comfortable. They're not yet FOMOing in, desperate to buy Bitcoin at whatever cost. Maybe they're still looking for lower. Maybe people in shorts are still comfortable in their shorts. They're not feeling unsafe, and maybe this V shape was a bull trap. I don't know, but I'm not like I mean, I did say we should be shorting, just simply because I was imagining some kind of free drives pattern, and free drives patterns you do short. It's safer to short because on a free drives pattern you're making lower highs, so it's a lot safer to short a free drives, yeah, than to long it, because you're gonna get invalidated every time until the last move. So that being said, at the moment I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking at the moment it's not looking very strong. SLEF has been a really good indicator because it's been leading the price action. Okay, so keeping a really close eye on SLEF. You see right now SLEF is showing a little bit of strength. This is kind of what you want to see. It still hasn't changed market structure. This isn't a change of market structure. It's just a little bit of buyback after you had a bit of sell-off and a bit of volume injection here. We were trying to change market structure. There was a change in process here early on this morning. David and I were looking at it before he fell asleep, and effectively here you put in a high, lower low. We took out the high there. That was the higher high, and as soon as we made a low low here, it was sold into. You see that? So that was continuation of market structure. It's still bearish. This is our, now looking at the market structure on the 5-minute time frame. That's going to be the first indication of change. We'd have to take out that high. You'd have to take out that high, make a higher low, and then take out the new high that you've put in. That would be a change of market structure on the 5-minute time frame. I think that you'd have to wait for that to happen before you start buying anything. Honestly, I don't think it's a good idea to buy anything until Slurf changes 5-minute time frame market structure. You're not going to catch the Pico low on Slurf. Doesn't matter. Slurf is an indication. Hi RH, good morning. Slurf is definitely an indication of market sentiment right now. If people are selling Slurf, they're not bullish on anything. And if people are buying Slurf, then they're bullish on everything. Yeah. So for me right now, Slurf is the best indicator for identifying market sentiment. There's a lot of volume, there's a lot of interest, and it just gives you an idea of how people are feeling. Yeah, because Slurf has no value, it's just a meme coin. There's no tokenomics to it really. There's no value coming into the network. It's just an indicator of people's behavior. You can look at Slurf as an indicator of people's behavior and their sentiment towards crypto. Yeah, if people start getting bullish, they're going to be buying Slurf without hesitation. And if people are feeling bearish, they're going to sell Slurf without hesitation. They're not even going to bother accumulate. They're just going to sell, and they're going to just look for lower, okay, or look for strength. And so look at, like we had some ideas yesterday of Slurf. I've been messing about with the charts trying to find an edge. But I mean, we were looking for a drop, we were looking for a little bit of a drop. And lo and behold, the drop is coming. But it's not easy because, while I'm looking at Slurf and I'm thinking to myself, I'd love to buy Slurf at the Pico bottom, I also don't want to buy it if Slurf is actually going down like that. Yeah. And let me tell you something. I know people are really bullish on Bitcoin, and overall I've been quite bullish too. Yeah. But if we put in a lower low here, I'm thinking 40,000, 44,000. I'm not going to be bullish anymore on Bitcoin. I think there's some kind of massive manipulation going on, whatever it is. I can't explain it, but the price action is telling me that there's no demand at these high prices right now. Yeah. And effectively, when there's no demand, you have to look for lower. The price needs to go lower to find lower liquidity, and until the balance changes. Yeah. I'm not thinking that just yet, but this V-shaped recovery, it's starting to look really poor. Unfortunately, I can't see strength right now. And the thing is, I'm thinking to myself, you don't really need to see strength, but you do need to see a little bit of strength. You do need to see an attempt, right? And I'm not seeing an attempt of buying. I'm seeing people thinking to themselves lower, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, if people want lower, then the market, the pattern is going to change. And so basically people are causing this. People's greed and behavior is allowing a really bullish pattern to become bearish. Yeah. And this is just a reflection of people's greed is causing this. Yeah. This is all greed. So, and the greed is that people want lower prices. And in doing so, they are allowing a really bullish pattern to potentially become extremely bearish. And the problem is, the lower you go, the harder it is going to be to defend. It's not going to be easy. If the price starts dropping, you're not going to be able to defend that. The bulls won't be able to defend that. It's just going to be very difficult. And so that's why you need a really gentle correction, so that it becomes a lot easier to defend. The bulls have a better chance of defending that. And while V-shaped recoveries are extremely bullish, every single pattern in the world has the potential to fail. and there's no reason to think that this can't fail. Yeah, so you don't get into your mind that just because we've had a V shape that this is definitely going up. There is a chance that this can fail. I don't know what the percentage is, but every pattern can fail. Yeah, and you just have to always consider that. Right now it'll be quite easy to see strength return to this pattern. Just get back into the value area, get back above the point of control. It'd be quite easy to see. You have a little local range here. Yeah, there's no rush really, is there? Look at it. There's no rush. You look at that. There's no rush. You don't have to buy here. You can just wait. This is a head and shoulders. You've got the neckline. There's no real rush to buy into that, is there? If you think about it, it would be very easy to just let the price get back in to buy that, wouldn't it? And that could be that for me. That would be preferable. We may not be able to get back up there, but at least the momentum isn't aggressively down still. You know, like the problem is the you keep on going down. You're just building momentum, and the momentum is then just going to carry the price down. Yeah, and so we're just trying to. This whole move up was an attempt to shift the momentum, but then now when you're allowing the price to fall back so steeply, the momentum goes back to the downside, and that's problematic for price action. Yeah, when the momentum is reversed. You see here, this is the Bollinger Band. It's just a guide. I don't really trade off it. It's just a guide. It's just an indication. You see how the midpoint, which is the 20 moving average, the price on an hour time frame, we've fallen back underneath it, and you see here. Yeah, you see it's starting to turn. The momentum's starting to shift back to the downside. Look at the 4-hour moving average. Look, you got over it, and we weren't able to hold it once. See that? Couldn't hold it, and it resisted. Yeah, and now we're into the bottom side of the Bollinger Band, the 4-hour time. I think that's quite bearish, really. At the very least, I would have wanted to see the price go sideways a little bit. It doesn't have to be crazy sideways. It could just be a descending, a descending channel of sorts. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness here. Now the 12-hour time frame, you see we're above it. We're coming back to it. You lose it, we're back underneath it. Bearish momentum continues. Yeah, and so this is problematic for the price. Look at the daily time frame. Look how that's very poor, huh? That's not strong at all. You see that? We're above the Bollinger, the midpoint. We rejected it there, and we can't get above it. We're just struggling. The price is struggling to get above it. I mean, there's quite. I think we're seeing weakness actually right now in the price. Could that 3-day time frame candle be a bull trap? You know, really bullish reversal followed by a swing failure of the highs. Could this next 3 days, when does it end? 14 hours time. Could we end right back at the lows here? Very possible. That would look extremely bearish. Yeah. The problem with that idea is that you're going to get people sell into that. They won't hold anymore. They'll be looking for lower. This was basically the one attempt for the bulls to hold the price, and so we still have to see what happens. But ideally what you want is you want a little bit of strength. We need to see a bit of strength now, because now we're starting to see weakness. And it's one thing for corrections aren't weakness. Corrections are just corrections. This is looking like weakness. This isn't looking like a correction. Yeah. And that's my problem with the price action right now. It's looking a little bit weak. Okay. And I'm seeing that on Slurf. Yeah. I'm not seeing, oh God, it just keeps on falling. Look at that. God, it's just, it's miserable. Huh? Look at that. It's not looking strong at all. Yeah, it's a shame, but it's just the reality of crypto right now. Look at that. Slurf has got a daily level here. There, that's a daily level. Mark it off. Let me have a look at the volume, the range. Let me look at the volume. I've done it. Let me just, okay. So this is the only hope that we have for Slurf. Let's see what happens. We're coming into the value area low. This is actually pretty weak. The fact that we've bounced off the value area low here, and we haven't managed to get to the point of control, that's actually quite weak. Yeah, when you see this, that's pretty weak. It's not strong. It's not a strong move. That's quite a weak bounce. So that is support. The value area low of the range is support. There isn't much volume down here. Just bear that in mind. Most of the volume is above us. Basically, everyone who's in Slurf, unless they're short or is underwater, pretty much. And then you have a little bit of, there's no volume here really at these lows. Let me see if there's any change. Not really. So your volume levels. What's the anchored VWAP? See the anchored VWAP on Slurf? The average, weighted average volume is all the way up at 54 cents. Oh my God. That's done. Have another daily level lower down. And obviously we lost that weekly level. What's this? Fib retracement. I can get rid of that. What's this one? Okay, let's get rid of that pitchfork. It's I just can't see strength right now. It's a shame. Okay, so we have a little bit of confluence here on Slurf. That's probably a good place for Bitcoin to bottom out. Let me just show you. So this is the GAN fan that I've drawn. Let me just make sure I'm on log. I'm not. Sorry. So I'm taking it from this low on the 12th of April all the way to the pivot high on the 24th of April. I'm using a GAN fan. You can see that it's reacting. The price is reacting off that fan. You can see here. That's how you know if these fans are effective or not. When you draw it from a pivot to a pivot, it has to be from like a low to a high or a high to a low. Not, you can do it from intermediary pivots, but it's usually best from the absolute high of a range to the low of a range. And then if you see the lines, if you see that they're reacting, the price is reacting off the lines, then you know this is valid. Yeah, then you know, you can see here clearly 3 times the price has reacted off different fan lines. And here you can see the price is struggling to get up until it failed. So you can see that this is quite a nice fan and it's reacting. The price is moving around this fan. Just in case you didn't know, a little bit of education. So we have this golden pocket, which we're coming back into. Let me just make sure that that's correct. That's correct too. So from the same pivot, golden pocket, we're not there yet. I think this is quite weak. The fact that we've come into it and we're coming back into it. I don't see that as strength. I see that as weakness. We've lost the current daily level easily. That's like it's just been solved through. And naturally, what the price needs to do on Slurf is to get back above the daily level and flip it back into support. Yeah, we haven't really tested it as resistance yet, have we? Not really. It's a weak test. What the price needs to do is get back above, back test it as support, and then we can start making our way up. Yeah. So there's definitely a potential resistance level in the way. And again, it goes back to my idea of Slurf leading the market and being showing the market sentiment, right? The other really important line that I've got in mind, again, I'm using the Bybit perpetual contract because at the moment that has the most volume. I'm not too concerned about the all-time high and all-time low that's recorded on CoinGecko. I'm just focusing on Bybit at the moment. I see that there's this outer trend line, which was front run here. You see that? There, and that was a little front run. I consider that as hit. And effectively, when you're thinking about the markets and Slurf being the token that in my mind is leading the market in terms of how the market sentiment, really there's no reason to be bullish until we break that outer trend line. Really, that's, I hate to say it, but that's the reality of where we are right now in terms of bullishness. Yeah, you have this nice outer trend line and there's no way for the price to go up without breaking that outer trend line in some meaningful way. That would require some kind of break, some kind of back test, and then some kind of continuation, which would be confirmed with a market structure change to bullish, at least on the lower time frame. Okay, and so obviously that was a little bit of a front run. You could potentially also just make it a little bit steeper, just to get a little bit of a heads up. Potentially you could do that. You could potentially make it a little bit steeper, or actually what I think would be better, just to have a little bit of a steeper line, just to get a little bit of a heads up, is just here to here. Yeah. Just to get a little heads up on whether this is starting to show strength or not. It's just an idea. So obviously coming back into the golden pocket is support, and we have this lower GAN line at 8.1, which is much lower. If we were to come to it next Tuesday, it would be a really nice buy. You see that? You see where you have a little bit of confluence here. The good thing about the Bybit value area low is that it's perfectly on top of the 618. So there is going to be some kind of support there. So we could probably see a little bit of a bounce there. But again, the same problem is then you have to get back above the daily level. Could that resist? And then you could be forming some kind of bearish consolidation range here. And then we have to see what happens. Like, there's no way to know how this is going to behave. And then are we going to take the low here, or are we going to hold a higher low? Probably it'll be better to take the low. If you make a higher low, then the chances of us going down are increased. Yeah, you almost need to take the low first before we can go back up, and so that's something else to bear in mind. So I'm not actually seeing strength from the price action. It's hard to short unless we get some kind of back test into some kind of level. Like of course, if the price was coming back into the daily level and you saw a reaction, that would be an easy short. It'd be shorting the lows, but at least you're shorting a back test of an SR flip, and you'd have a very tight invalidation, because if you were to do that, you wouldn't think the price is then going up. You know, that's what you want. You want a tight invalidation. I think I'm always like thinking to myself, well, you don't want to long into weakness, which is what we're experiencing now. So ideally what I would want to see is, because we're in the lows, or we're falling into the lows, I'm thinking let's just wait for strength. Once we get strength, we can start longing again. Right now, strength would be Slurf, the market structure and Slurf changing back to bullish, at least on the 5-minute time frame. This is the low here. This is the high. Probably we need to go and make another low. Probably. If you put in another low there, then the lower high comes here, you know, so it becomes a bit easier to change market structure. That's why making lower lows sometimes can help to change market structure, because it means the lower high comes down. Otherwise, if we don't put a lower low in now, then to change market structure we need to go up all the way up there to put in a higher low and to take out the high. So probably it could be easier, but then that would require strength, and that's all you really want to see. You don't really care whether you put in a lower low here or whether we put in a higher high now. All we care about is to see strength. We only want to see strength. Once you see strength, then you can start feeling bullish again. And I think on Slurf it starts with Slurf, and it starts on the 5-minute time frame. That's what I think. Yeah. So I'm very keen to look at how this behaves, how this moves, and I'm just judging everything based on that. I'm almost ignoring Bitcoin at the moment. Can you believe it? Almost. It's really weird, huh? Gary says, my plan? Exactly. God, I've been talking for too long. Which was your plan? Was it the outer trend line on Slurf? It must have been, because that's the easiest long. Yeah, it's such an easy long. Break the trend line, little back test. It's a really easy long. You don't have to worry about the price dropping, because the price can drop. You can go, oh, doesn't really matter how far it gets. We have a really juicy outer trend line. Doesn't really matter where you break it, back test, continue, easy. That's an easy long. Yeah, hopefully that will be the end of this down move. And you actually have the same idea on Bitcoin as well, you know. There is an outer trend line on Bitcoin too. People weren't aware of it. We broke it and then we're falling back underneath it. That's the problem. That's the problem. Maybe not. Look at that. Maybe we're coming back to test it. This is interesting. So let's see what happens here. This is the real test. Now, you see this? This is the real test. Now we're coming into this outer trend line. Yeah, we can't come back in. Yeah, it's like, this would be terrible if we came back in. It's a little bit subjective, this trend line. Which time frame do you use? Which pivot do you use? Usually you take the last two pivots to form a trend line like that. But when you have when you have something like this, which kind of roughly touches all of these pivots, you can see, look, is it that? Is it the top two there? See the price is reacting there. Is it a little bit lower? That's why trend lines are difficult, because they're so subjective. Different people have different ideas for how to draw them, and so therefore you're never going to get the whole market doing exactly the same thing at the same time. That's why horizontal lines are so much better, because there's no subjectivity to horizontal lines, to value areas, to levels, daily levels, or SR flips. There's no subjectivity. It's very objective. Whereas when it comes to trend lines, people have a different idea of how to draw them, and some people just use the bodies, some people use the wicks, some people use the last two, some people try and line them all up. I try to make it fit. Yeah, I'm not really fussed. I just try to make it make sense. We can clearly see that we're coming into some kind of back test now. Whether it's here or whether it's a little bit lower, it's here. It's in this range. Yeah, so it's always good to consider like these trend lines as areas rather than exact lines. Okay, and you can clearly see we're coming back to test something here. Okay, now there's no reason to think that the price is going to drop. You know, just because I'm not seeing strength doesn't mean the price is going to go down. But I can't see a strong bullish reaction right now. That's the problem. That's the problem. And to be fair, it is the UK session. The New York session is probably where the price will move. And the other thing is that we haven't really seen, so this is the good news. We've got a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here. And we've got a value area here. This isn't a crazy sell-off if you think about it. This is like a nice big head and shoulders pattern. And we've broken the neckline, back tested it. We should have seen a bigger sell-off, right? And so in a sense, you could argue that even though this is looking bearish, there's a little bit of weakness in terms of the bears too there, because I've seen head and shoulders on Bitcoin, and when they break, they fall. Yeah, they just go. There's no stopping them. Okay, so there is a little bit of hesitation here. It's very obvious. There's a little bit of a hesitation. It wouldn't be difficult. Sorry, it wouldn't be difficult for the bulls to take out that high, get back into the range. I don't think it'll be that difficult. And then the sentiment changes again. Yeah, you get an immediate change of sentiment. And then potentially you could say, well, that was a test and that test succeeded. You had this trend line test. And then the next objective for the bulls will be to take out that high. Okay, that will be a confirmation of a change of 4-hour time frame market structure. When you look at the 4-hour time frame, you've put in your higher high. We need to put in a higher low before we can take out the higher high. The only condition is that this low isn't taken. It's still quite far away, but again, I was just saying to you guys, I'm not fond of this 12-hour candle. I'm not fond of it at all. I think it's a really poor candle. You see how it's closed into this previous 12-hour candle. Yeah, this is the previous candle lower wick, and this is the previous one. And you see how it's closed underneath the wick, and it's now into the body of this long this big candle here. This one here. So unless we go up, then I think it's quite a high chance that we fill this whole candle all the way down somewhere, maybe to there. Then we're back underneath this trend line, and that's a sign of weakness. To break a trend line and then to fall back underneath it is a sign of weakness. It'll be a good buy opportunity for day traders and scalpers, but it will get sold into. Yeah, so you'd probably, if this ends up filling this whole candle, because we can't see strength there, I don't think an arbitrary sloping trend line is going to hold the price. I think the horizontal lines are more important. You can see the 236 offered zero support, and so that kind of is already a cause for concern. This is actually a good place. If you think about it, it's a 382 and the trend line. So you've got a little bit of a good place here. Does that line up with anything? Yeah, I think it does. There's a little bit of a value area low here. Let me bring it back in. Not that. There. It's actually not a bad place to buy, to be honest with you. It's not a bad place for the price to find support, you see. But now then we have to go up. You can't just loiter around a support line hoping for the best. Yeah. Whatever happens, the price needs to find support and then go up. Yeah, whatever happens, we need to find support. So this is actually quite a good area for the price to reverse. And if you lose that, if we now start losing this, forget it. This is gone. This is finished. I think this bullish move is over. Honestly, I'd literally then think of, we'd have to wait for strength to return, and it would have to be a real sign of strength. And so here we're at a really important part of the chart where we have to see what happens. There's no reason to think that this is gonna we're going to lose this line just yet, because actually looking at it, we haven't even tested it. So let's wait for a test. Could be like that. And let's see if we can get this 12-hour candle to close back outside of this backouts. Like ideally what you want is you want the 12-hour candle to close back above this yellow line that I've drawn. Let's see if we can get that. And that needs to happen in the next 2.5 hours. Otherwise, I think the next candle will buy, and then it will probably sell into, people will sell into the next buy, probably. So you might get a little bounce, but actually it's probably going to be just a weak bounce. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to hold. We have to see what happens. And the problem is then if you start getting people short, then there's no hope. Yeah, because shorting is pushing the price down, and basically anyone who's bullish and long, I mean, a lot of people are trapped right now. Are they taking their, are they getting liquidated? I'll have a look. There's a little bit of liquidation there. There's some liquidations there, but maybe not enough. Maybe not enough liquidations. Maybe some people are still holding on to their leverage longs because they're feeling bullish. They feel like they've got really good entries much lower down. You know, if some people were leveraging down here, they might still be thinking this is really bullish, I'm just going to hold on. And that the problem is that when the price comes down, they'll start closing their longs. They're not going to allow their longs to go into negative or take a loss on their longs. It'll be pretty depressing after all of this move for the price to reverse and for people to have to close with not, if they haven't taken profit. It'd be pretty depressing for them, and that will add to the negative sentiment of bullishness. If you have longs all the way from this push having to close, and if they haven't taken profit, they're going to feel really upset. They might not long again. So we have to see what happens. I can't predict it. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I don't know. I can see there's a little bit of bullish divergence forming right now, though, just locally. That helps. That helps with keep me bullish. So that helps because that tells you that there are still people buying. Yeah, limit longs. You see that? Higher low, lower low on the CVD. That really helps. This was a long closing. A long close though. 1.4 million drop in OI. That's a long closing. You see how the CVD has gone down, but the price hasn't made a lower low. So even though a long closed that market, it was absorbed by another long, a limit long. Now, that's not good enough. Absorbing the price is not good enough because all it does is it prevents the price going down. You need market longs to take the price up. The only way to have market longs is for shorts to close at market, or for people to market long. Okay, we saw that in the move up. You know, we actually saw that live last week when we had that explosive move to the upside. I actually commentated on it as it was happening. Where was it? Here. This is what we want to see. You see the increasing OI? 5.8 million, 1.7 million. This is market longing. This is big longs coming in. Look at this one here, 6.3 million. Look at that increase in OI. Half of that is longs pushing the price up. That's what you need to push the price up. That's really healthy price action for when the price goes upwards. So that's how you move the price. Here's another one. Look at this one. 8.6 million. Look at that. 5.3 million longs in that candle. Increase in OI, 8.6 million. Here's another one. 3.6 million. These are big market longs coming in, pushing the price up. The most bullish scenario is new longs with new open increase in OI. And then obviously if the price can go up when shorts close as well. Let me just have a look at the overall picture on OI. Well, you can clearly see that in this overall, this V-shaped recovery. That's the V-shape. Yeah, let me just get rid of those bubbles. This VWAP. You can see that we've had absorption. So you've had limit longs try to absorb the price because you have a lower CVD of this overall range. But again, that's not enough. You need market longs to push the price up. It's not enough to just absorb the price. And so again, it comes down to whether there's enough limit longs able to absorb the price for all of the people who are long if they market close. And you can see here, this is quite interesting. You see how the OI is going up here and the price is going down. That's shorts entering the market. This is shorting. So now we're actually starting to see shorts coming. Okay, so this is different. We haven't experienced this so much. We have, but not so much. That's very obvious. Here there was a bit of shorting here. You see the OI goes up and the price comes down. That's shorting. So we're starting to see shorting here as well. OI is going up, price is coming down. It's getting absorbed, but you're starting to see shorting in this price action. All right. So naturally what the bulls need to do now is they need to squeeze those shorts, and the shorts just need to continue to push the price down. Eventually the longs are going to become exhausted. Like the limit longing is going to stop. So this is a real battle right now between those who are the sentiment is bearish and those who are sentiment is bullish. I think we don't need to be involved in this battle because all we really need to do is wait for strength. Yeah, we can wait for that. I have been trying to catch the bottom miserably. I like to do that. I'm actually just, I like to try new things out with really small account. I haven't been trading that much, to be honest with you. I've been trying some things out, but I can see, you see when you're trying to long and it's not working, it means you shouldn't be longing, you should be shorting. Yeah, that's how you know. So it's always a good idea to try with a small amount, and if you see that it's not working, then you know you shouldn't be longing, you should be shorting. Yeah. So when you're trying to long this and you see that every time you long you end up with less negative, you see, well, actually no, I should be shorting. Yeah. And it's the same thing with shorting. If you're shorting and you see the price keeps on going up and you're always negative, then actually maybe you should be longing. Okay. So it's a good way to know whether you're doing it right or wrong. And it's always good to start off with small amounts, so you're not too bothered. And so at the moment I can see it's like really bearish. Oh my god, it's really bearish. Any thoughts, anyone? What's look at Slurf. Oh my god, poor Slurf. Nothing. I have nothing to say really. What else is interesting for me, and I've been chatting to David about this a lot. is we have another signal. This guy called Daniel. It's really interesting because there's no way that I counter trade this guy, but every time I see him post bullish stuff or bearish stuff, I see the opposite of the price action. I shared his tweet with you, David, but I can't find it. I can't even see his tweets because unfortunately he's blocked me. Trying to find it. How do I find this tweet? Oh, there it is. Can you see that? No. If I log out, let me try an incognito tab. Maybe I can do it like this. This is the way to do it when you can't see people's tweets. You go into incognito. This is the guy. I've called the market almost perfectly in the past, yeah? So you got to be careful because that's a lie. A few bad trades. When you say you've called the market almost perfectly and then you say a few bad trades, how is that almost perfectly? It's not very humble, is it? This is what I do. This is who I am. Another great call after reading the order flow of why higher will come and remain bullish. Remain bullish. Every time he does shit like this, the price does the opposite every single time. I swear to God. Yeah. He posted this 6th of May. So he posted this on 6th of May. Look what time he posted this. Hold on. Let me see the time. 9:44 a.m. So funny. Let me go back to that. Look, guys, look at this. Yeah. There's no joke. Literally no joke. He posted that here. Can you believe that? He posted that tweet right there at the top. Literally not a joke. I'm not kidding. 6th of May, 9:44 a.m. How crazy is that? He posts that tweet, says he's really bullish, right at the top when the price is about to correct 5% on Bitcoin. Yeah. You've got to be careful with these people. They're corrupt, huh? They're not sound. A lot of people will look at his tweets and feel bullish and start longing, but that's wrong. He should be, like he's not giving people the right information. Yeah, and that's problematic. I shorted that. David and we shorted that. We were shorting. We weren't longing. Here, I had a trade plan, and I shorted that because it was coming into my 618 resistance fan. Yeah. And also it was coming into some kind of value area high that I had. I can't remember where it was. Probably from here. Yeah, see it's coming to a value area high. Swing failure of that pivot. 618 fan. As soon as he tweeted that, he's saying he's bullish. What he actually was doing, he was selling. He was shorting. So you've got to be careful with these people, yeah? And unfortunately, there's no, he blocked me actually. And all I'm trying to do is just tell people the truth, the facts, you know, like give people the correct information. I think it doesn't bother me. I'm not trying to make money from people. I want people to make money for themselves. How crazy is that? Look, it's really terrible behavior. Let me go back to that tweet so you guys can see it again. Look, 9:44 a.m. Another great call after reading your full of why. Look, why higher. He's telling people higher will come and remain bullish, exactly as the market is about to drop. Perfectly timed. Yeah, what does that mean to you? Look at all these likes, 104, 55, 15 likes. Look, all these people are like literally manipulated by thinking, by following this shit. This isn't cool. You should stop doing that, really, if you think about it. But I mean, I guess people deserve it if I guess people deserve it if they're not willing to do their research and investigate further. That's really bad behavior, I think. No? Am I wrong? Don't really like to comment on other people's stuff, but you've got to be really careful these days. There's a lot of crooks out there, and ultimately you've got to be thinking the market could go up or the market could go down. You can't be thinking one thing. No one really knows what's going to happen in the market. No one can really predict the market. It's all a balance of probabilities. But I think it's really I don't think it was good the fact that he's tweeting that he expects higher and he's bullish exactly at the right point where people shouldn't be buying, they should be selling. Gary is saying trouble is people coming into crypto gravitate. They totally do. They've got big followings. They're very charismatic. And on the most part, their analysis is good and correct on the most part. Like, I mean, you know, I learned from Daniel. You know, I was part of their chart champions for a good part of a year. But then I could see very clearly that he would say things that were wrong. Yeah. And his apology wasn't good enough. For me, his apology wasn't good enough. And so I naturally left. Yeah. And he was basically trying to help people, but in doing so, he was hurting people. And I didn't like that. And I think if you're trying to help people, then the best thing you can do is keep them safe. Best way to keep people safe is to give people both scenarios so that people are aware of what could happen in either case. Rather than just say I'm bullish, I'm expecting higher, you should say this is a good place, we're into resistance, I'm expecting higher, but this V shape needs to correct, and then we have to see what happens. Like, he has to be honest with people, and you get a lot of that. I mean, I still think as long as we hold support, there's no reason to think that this V shape isn't going to play out. Like, I'm not thinking to myself we're going down. At the moment, I'm just seeing a little bit of bearishness, and I want to see a little bit of strength now. I want to see, you know, I want to see if we can form this, like a little mini free drives pattern. I think I'll be okay with that. And I certainly don't want to lose this lower trend line. I'm just being honest. If we lose this trend line and we head down to the golden pocket, I won't be fond of this price action, and I won't be looking to long until we see that trend line reclaimed again. I don't care about catching a pico bottom. I want to see strength, and that's really important. And so for me, that V shape was strong, but this correction is looking extremely weak. Like, sometimes you can have strong corrections and sometimes you can have weak corrections. And for me right now, this correction is looking weak and poor. You know, like, I'm not really seeing bullishness. Yeah, I'm seeing weakness. So we have to see how that plays out. I'm happy to have you here, Gary. Never met you before, but happy to have you. Hopefully I won't disappoint. That's why I'm here. I'm a slave, Maxi, but Need you to keep me in check. Well, look, I'm really bullish on Slurf. I have none at the moment, actually. I'm really bullish on Slurf. So I just think the problem with Slurf is it needs Bitcoin to be strong, and until that happens, we're going to have problems. Let me have a look right now. We're underneath this daily level. We really need to find a little bit of strength. It's at a good place, you know, like we're back into this little range. Let me just do a volume pull on this range. We're back into it. Shit, that's a problem, huh? That's really problematic. Yeah. Yeah, we're back underneath the point of control here. See, it's holding as resistance. The next level of support is this value area low here. I do think that we're probably going to go down lower. Just looking at it. Maybe. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't mind to take out these lows, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen immediately, just simply because you've got this value area low in the 618 here, and also this previous range value area low 2 will offer some kind of support in the price action. Is there a, oh yeah, we're underneath the daily level there. If I had the funds, I would buy 1 million of this token as low as possible. I really would. So I'm hoping it goes down to about what, 10 cents. That's $100,000. Can you imagine? I'd buy it on spot though. I wouldn't leverage, because it's quite hard to leverage a high amount of token. Yeah, I can't see any strength right now, so we just have to be patient. And I think David's right. He's looking for 5-minute market structure change. I trade on socials and events, learning TA as I go. Well, yeah, TA just start. I mean, it takes time, but it's not that difficult. The hardest part of TA is confidence in the analysis. That takes time because that takes experience. Once you see things happen and see how things react to certain things, that gives you confidence for the future. Yeah, so the reason why I know, like, for example, fib lines are so important is because I've seen so many times how fib lines, how the price reacts to fibs, for example. Yes, you go and tell someone who has no idea about fibs the why, they won't believe you, or they won't necessarily trust you, or they won't accept that. So they have to experience, it's like an experience that you have to experience for yourself to fully trust in your own analysis. And that's really that takes a little bit of time, but you just learn these ideas one by one. It won't take too long before you become competent and proficient. And we're all learning, you know, like that's the other thing. Just because I know a few things doesn't mean I'm not able to learn more things as time goes by. It's like there's tools here that I have no idea about. I've messed about with them. I still don't know how to use them. Fib circles, fib spiral. I don't know any of these. I've tried to use them, but I couldn't figure it out. So it's not hard to find information on all of these tools online. It's very kind of scattered. So I think fibs are probably your most important tool for sure. And also when you're charting, only do it in log. I wouldn't bother with regular unless you're using that one, the fib, this fib speed resistance fan. And then the other tool that's extremely important is this one, this volume tool. It's called the fixed range volume profile. That gives you the volume levels. Okay. These are the settings that we use, David and I use. This row size can be less. You can have like 170. I like to have a little bit more data. It's a little less laggy when you have it less. If you have more, it's a little bit more laggy. And then the value area volume is a percentage. So the default is 70. That's 70%. It just tells you the area where most of the volume was. 70% of the volume was in that area. We use 68 because we like to have a little bit slightly tighter volume. And the point of control is where most of the volume was. And then you have the 70% range with the value area low being at the bottom and the value area high being at the top. And so naturally, they're going to be your biggest volume resistance in the overall range. Once you learn about the volume, yeah, then what you can do is you can break that down. So that's the overall range, but you can kind of like, if looking at this whole price action, you can split this up. Yeah. So you see from here, that's an upper range. And then up down to here, that's the lower range. It's like two ranges. And you can do the volume for the top range. That's the top range. This is the volume for the bottom range. See that? So now you have two volume profiles. Now we're in the bottom range. This is the actual volume profile that we're interested in. You can see we've lost the value area low here, unfortunately. So also a sign of strength would be to get back into this lower range value area low. But obviously the other thing that you bear in mind is that the overall volume range, you can see that the value area low is here. So that kind of, there's still some support, but it's on the overall range. So that's, I mean, once you kind of mess about with volume, that's really a good place to start. Volume is a really good place to start, like messing about and seeing how the price behaves and reacts to volume. Effectively, what you need for any token is you need the price to flip the point of control into support effectively. So to go up, there's no way we're going to go up until we can flip the point of control into support. At the moment it's about 41.8. If we get that, you can see that it's flipped into support. You're not expecting now to lose it once you flip it. And even though it's quite high into the value area high, it's problematic actually, to be honest with you, to be there. From my experience, what I've seen, it'll be a lot more bullish to put more volume down here somewhere, probably here, because you see the volume profile. You'd probably have to put in a lot of volume down here somewhere in the future, so that the point of control actually flips to the lower part of this overall range. I think that would be the most bullish scenario of this volume profile. If that happens, then you'll be flipping the point of control in the lows of this overall range, and so therefore it'll be a lot easier to go up, yeah, because you've flipped the point of control. It's in the lows of this range, and that happens a lot. And so that's why it's always a good idea to mark out the volume. And so when you redo it on a daily basis or weekly basis or whatever basis, you can see if there's any changes to the volume. Okay, so volume is a really important tool that you should definitely use and utilize. And then the other one, obviously fibs, which you're probably familiar with. Again, fibs, I use log. And so here you see the fib retracements from the high to the low. And it's always good to check the fibs. So just check to see that the lines are being respected. You see the 50% mark. It's not a fib line, it's 50% of the range. But you can see that there's a reaction there. There's a reaction there. There's a little bit of reaction there. You can see that's being respected. You can see the 382 is being respected. You can see it's being respected. And so therefore you expect the 236 to be respected. It was here and here a little bit, and here. And then look what's happened. It's just been ignored. So that's that tells you there's real weakness there, huh? It gives you a clue, you know, because you're expecting it to be respected. It's been respected in the past. Why shouldn't it be respected again? The fact that you haven't respected it tells you that there's weakness. Yeah, when you see these are really important fib on the log scale. This is, so if you go into fib, you see that it says fib levels based on the log scale. See, look, even the 786 up there was respected. So you can see that the fibs are being respected, and therefore that helps, because if it helps to see. And so naturally it's the same thing right now. If you look at this overall fib retracement, we're into the lower part of the range. If you consider all of these fib levels areas as ranges, this is the lowest range now. We're in the lowest part of the range now. This is the next level, this is the next level, etc., etc. And then the golden pocket is an area where the price can often find a support or resistance, and it starts at the 618, ends at about the 65 or the 66, and it's just good to have that. So once you have the fibs and the volume, the rest is pretty straightforward. You know, the rest you can kind of add different things. Trend lines, definitely the outer trend line is really important, which I already explained. This one, it was that one, and you see it broke, back tested, and we had a little pump, and now it's this one. Maybe that one. Maybe it's not to the wick. Maybe it's to the body, to the wick. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Maybe to the... So when you kind of put all of this analysis together, and put the fans ranges back. No. Did I delete them? Let's put this all back in. So actually I've got those marked out, so I don't need to keep that. Volume levels, there they are. I'll just mark them out. And then the other thing that I've got interesting is these GAN lines. I'll put those back in. That's from the top to bottom. You can actually use other pivots, doesn't have to be the absolute low. Oops. That doesn't give me any information. Then you have this one from the low to the high there. We've literally lost all of them, to be honest with you, so it's pretty irrelevant. They're kind of both pretty irrelevant now. So I'll just ignore those, and then let's just have a look at the speed resistance fan. Now with the speed resistance fan, you have to go back to a regular chart to do it. Let's have a look at this one. Again, it's the same idea from low to high. You can see that the levels are being reacting here and here and here. And so naturally you'd be expecting some kind of reaction at the lowest one. That's that one. Let's go the other one from the top. Again, from top to the pivot here. Nothing. There's nothing interesting there. So the only interesting one is this one at the moment. We're close, sir. We're very close. It's probably going to be a good place to find support there. And then the other thing that's quite important are liquidity levels. And so to create liquidity levels, you start at the higher time frame on the monthly time frame. Okay, so actually let me just get all of this together. Volume levels, let's pull that all up. So I actually done it already. You can see you've got this monthly level. So the way it works is that you're looking at the candles on the monthly time frame, and where the candles square off, that's your monthly level. You have to wait for the candles to close, but that becomes your monthly level. And so as long as the price doesn't trade to that level, then it's an untapped level. So it becomes a strong liquidity level for people wanting to sell. And to go up, you have to flip that level into support. You can't just go up. Okay, you start on the monthly time frame, and then on the weekly time frame you can do your weekly levels. You see here the weekly level, you've got the same idea. You've got this green and then red, so that becomes your weekly level. We've got a weekly level at the same place that there's a monthly level there, but because they're both on the same place, you just leave the higher one because the higher one's more important. It's quite a strong level. And then you go to the daily level too. You can do exactly the same thing with the daily. Again, the same. So that monthly level is an extremely strong resistance level, because you have a daily level, you have a weekly level, and a monthly level at exactly the same place. It's a really strong level that has to be flipped. So naturally, if the price goes up to 63 cents or so, it'll be a good place to sell or to take profit. And then you've got the same idea. You've got this daily level up here. Now, the reason why you wouldn't necessarily put that level, you might, but you don't, is because you see how the price has gone up into the level once and been rejected. And so that becomes a tapped level. And so therefore, you're not really interested in levels which are already traded through, because it means that the liquidity has already been taken from that level. Okay. And so you see that a lot as well, where you get levels which are traded through. Like for example here, you see that here, when you form that green and red, you had a daily level, and you see how the price went up. It traded through that level and came down, so that's no longer relevant. Okay, well, there's one here. This one is traded through. You see here, this one's traded through. Price came up and sold into it, so it's no longer relevant. But we have got another one down here. See that? And then the one that we're into now is here. That should be support. But the price is obviously pushed through it. Wait for the daily time frame to close. Yeah, so sometimes the price will trade through them and then it just closes right back up, because that is actually, it's a daily level. So you're just waiting for the daily time frame to do what it wants to do, you know. So like for example, if you see here, the price traded in this candle, the price traded all the way through down here, and look, it closed right back above. It's not strong, but it did give people who entered at the daily level a chance to exit at break even before the price crashed. So it's just something to bear in mind. And then obviously you have one here, see the red and the green, that's an untapped daily level there. So those are your higher time frame levels, with the strongest being right up there, because that's 3 levels in one. And then when you're doing your analysis, you've got all of these like liquidity levels. You've got your volume levels. Okay. Now I've got HVN is a high volume node, and then I've got the HTX value area. I'm probably going to get rid of that now. Actually, I'm not bothered with HTX. And so let me just have a look at this one more time. Yeah, you see it's not that high anymore, is it? There's a little bit of a high volume node there. Not really, actually. Look at the volume here. There's a little bit of a high volume node there. So then what you would do is you'd get all of your stuff out, all of your analysis, just chuck it up, and it gives you an idea of where most of the resistance and support is in terms of levels. Let me get that trend line in. I'm not going to put the fan in yet. Probably what I would be thinking of doing also is putting the two ranges, because I think that's quite important. So let me just do that now as well. So that's your first range. This is your second range. If I can get that. Oh my god, it's taking time to load. Okay. All right. And lots of lines. But the thing is, the price has to get above every single line. Yeah, there's no way the price is just going to get through any of these lines. There's no way the price is going to do that. The only time the price is going to do that is where there's no lines, where there's no liquidity levels, there's no nodes, volume nodes, nothing. It's in price discovery. Once you get above there, flip that into support. No volume, no data, nothing. It's just literally up, 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 up. That's what we're waiting for an expansion to the upside. And until then, there's a lot of things going on here. The price has to find support somewhere, bottom out somewhere. That's going to correlate with Bitcoin, obviously. You've got this outer trend line where it needs to break, and then wherever it breaks, if it's down here or up here or here or wherever, it doesn't really matter. But effectively what the price will need to do is break that line and then find support. And usually these horizontal supports are the best ones, not the trend line itself. Sometimes you can get confluence with the trend line and the horizontal. Let's say we were to break today or tomorrow like that, and the price comes right back down into this 236, which corresponds with the trend line. That could be good because you have a horizontal, but then you have the back test of the trend line. But ideally you want a horizontal test, not trend line isn't so important. You don't necessarily need to test the trend line. You break that, you have a little back test, and you change market structure, which is a higher high, and effectively you should be then looking for higher prices. You still have to clear these levels of resistance, and so naturally you see here you've got a really big area of resistance. You've got the point of control, you've got a weekly level, and you've got the 382 fib retracement. It's pretty stronger, right in the same area. So you wouldn't expect the price to just walk through that level. You'd expect some kind of reaction, and you'd be looking for a reaction. And again, you have the same idea higher up. So up here you've got that really strong monthly level. It almost corresponds with this value area high. It's quite close to each other. You'd be looking for a reaction there. And honestly, just looking at the chart, I would also be looking for a reaction at the 50% level. You can see that it's acting as some sort of SR flip here. Okay, and so the good thing about what I'm looking at now is there are gaps. You see there's lots of black gaps, and that's probably where the prices will move the quickest. So if we do end up getting above there, you'll probably go up to there really quickly. It'll be quite impulsive where you see the gaps. Okay, and so it just helps to see how the price moves. And so when I'm imagining price action, all I'm really doing is just marking off all of the liquidity levels, the higher time frame support and resistance levels, and just trying to see how the price is going to move in and between and around those areas of interest. That's all it is, and it's all speculative. And then I'm taking patterns into consideration. So I've got an eye on patterns as well. So below 20 was exactly, absolutely right. So Gary's saying is below 21 cents price discovery reverse. Absolutely. So if we, for whatever reason, can't predict it, Bitcoin would have to really go down to 44k. If Bitcoin starts breaking down, this is going to break down for sure, 100%. Every whale will sell. They won't allow their portfolio to go into negative. They'll short to cover their position. That'll probably be the easiest thing to do for most whales, just to short their whole stack, and then they don't have to worry about losing value, and they just wait for the price to bottom out, and then they'll just close their short, and then they haven't lost value. They haven't lost fiat value. I know that there was a lot of whales who entered here because I was looking at the Telegram group. I saw a lot of whales enter there. I also saw a lot of whales enter here. So already some whales are under pressure. Okay, and I don't know if it's the same whales. But if for some reason we start seeing a continued breakdown on Bitcoin and we can't hold levels, and really making a lower low here is confirmation of bearish market structure, because you've put a higher high here, you put in a lower low here, that higher high becomes a lower high, and now you've just put in a lower low. After you've put in this lower low, this is bearish, this is bearish, this is a lower low, lower high, lower low, this is bearish. Even if you get a pullback, you're going to get some kind of lower high for continuation. Yeah, you're going to get a sell-off. Yeah, and then you're in price discovery to the downside. No one can really predict how far it will go, but I can give you a clue if you want. And it's only a clue, like no one really knows how far it could go. What you do is you do some kind of, there's two things you can do. Let me just group these together. You can do a fib extension. Okay, so you do it from the pivot here to the low here, and then you just do, I do it on log, so I do a full extend. Oops, oh god, that's the wrong way, sorry, my bad. Apologies. You have to do it from this pivot to the high there, from this pivot to this high. And you've got some targets, and so an extended push down would be all the way down to the 1.618 on this move here. That would be the extension. See that? And you'd start to find support at the 1.272, somewhere between the 1.272 and the 1.414. That's kind of where you would first start to find support. But you know, even if you were to go down there, it could also break through and just go lower. That's kind of pretty extended. And the 1 to 2 would be extremely extended. It'd be like a nuke or something. It'd be like worst case scenario. But those are like areas of interest if you're looking to just trying to catch a falling knife. That's where you would do it, literally. Or if you're trying to close a short, you do it at those levels. So that's from there to there. Let me think, what else could you do? Like if you could, I mean, look, so from that pivot there to that top there, you see, look, I'm just showing you so you see that it does work. So I'm just taking it from this pivot here to that top there, and you see where the price came into the 1.272. You see that? And it extended all the way down to the 1.414. So that's the extension from there to there, and it extended all the way down to the 1.272. Couldn't close underneath, but it actually pushed all the way down to there. Okay, so naturally this also may offer some kind of support. This is still in play, yeah, because you can see it's working. You can see that the 1.272 and the 1.414 reacted, and so if we do go down, obviously you see if there's a reaction, or if you see if there's a reaction, or if we go further, you see if there's a reaction. And the strongest areas of interest will be where you have some kind of confluence. Is there any there? Yeah, there you go. There's a little bit of confluence there. See that? So on this extension, you've got the 1.272. It lines up with the 1.618. There's pretty good confluence there in terms of fib extensions at about somewhere between 14.5 to 15 cents. Yeah. So naturally you'll be thinking to yourself, that could be a good place for the price to find some kind of at least temporary support. In price discovery, the only way to find targets are with some kind of fib extension or trend-based fib extension. And so I'll keep that in mind. That's not a bad area to I'm going to put all of that into a little group just in case. Fib extension, I can spell it right. Extension to the downside. What else is there? Let me see. I don't think you should be thinking like that at the moment. It's clearly in a range. It's hard to see, but there is a range. And the reason why there's a range is because you can see that the 50% mark of the range is being respected there. So therefore you have to imagine this whole thing as one big range. That's the halfway point, right? At the moment, that's how it is. And right now we're just ranging in the lower part of the range. So just imagine the bottom part as a range, the top part as a range too, which we haven't really been in for long. And if you do get a breakdown, just imagine it as a deviation from the range. We don't necessarily expect to be out of the range for long. Yeah, and to see strength return, you have to see the price get back into the range. And so if you can imagine the price action like that, it would be, you're not going to be overly bearish. We may get that. We may get a little deviation from the, if we do get a breakdown, get a little deviation and then right back in. That's what you want to see. That will be your first kind of big sign of strength. If you marry that idea with maybe this trend line, yeah, obviously you want to break that trend line as well. So, and this is something else to kind of keep an eye out for. If we are looking to have a breakdown, we could be forming a little bit of a steeper trend line now. No one knows. Like, I'm not saying it's going down. I have no idea, but we get this a lot for breakdowns or breakups. You get like an outer trend line like this, and then you sometimes you get really bearish or bullish price action, and then you get a much steeper trend line that the price follows. You know, it could be any of these really. It's hard to tell exactly where the trend line is. And if the price now does kind of do this and then go down, do that and then go down, then actually you have to break the steeper one first. Yeah, and sometimes the price can do that until it hits some kind of area of support, then it breaks the steep one. It could still make a low here just to fake out everyone, and then you have the final break, the proper break, and then you're starting to get back into the range. So this all becomes a deviation from the range, and then hopefully we'll start to head up, and that's kind of, that would be acceptable. That would be normal behavior. That would be normal price action. That could happen. There's no reason why that could happen. You'd be looking more of a round. If that was to happen, that'd be like a rounding bottom idea. And actually, just looking at the price action now, the other thing that I was thinking about, potentially, I don't know. I mean, who knows really? Like, let's not fool ourselves. No one really knows. It's all speculation. It's all entertainment, right? Entertainment value only. I like to speculate on future price action. I mean, it's always possible that you're forming some kind of, you could form some kind of rounding bottom here. Yeah. Adam and Eve, V shape, rounding bottom. We can see that on Bitcoin as well. And so this is the other thing that I've been thinking about Bitcoin. So while people might be thinking I'm thinking a little bit bearish at the moment. And I know Cactus Cake is the Uber Bear. Is it Cactus Cake or who's the Uber Bear? Is he even here? Cactus, are you here? Shabuddin, morning. Yes, I'll have a look at those two. There are some bears among us. But the other thing that I was thinking about, which isn't bearish, actually, it's quite bullish. If this was to happen, it would feel bearish, but actually it's quite bullish. So this is your V. And while I was saying that going down is going to look bearish, if we start going down and all we do is this, see? And so again, it's a failed V, but actually it's an Adam and Eve pattern. See that? I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's the beginning of an Adam and Eve pattern. Yeah, you still have your neckline. There still needs to be a break and a retest. Yeah, but even though I'm saying that this is looking bearish, and if we go down, it's going to look bearish. If we don't make a, I mean, you can actually take out the low with an Adam and Eve. You don't have to hold a higher low. But you have a rounding bottom here. Okay, you have a rounding bottom, you go right back up, take out the high, break it, back test, and you're off. Okay, so just because we have a V, normally with a V shape you have some kind of downward channel here, where you have a consolidation correction before you have a breakout. Yeah, and the breakout is like that. If right now we don't have that downward channel, we start to find lower prices, you could get into a situation, a bullish reversal, where you have a rounding bottom, and so you have a different kind of bullish reversal pattern. Ideally you want to hold a higher low. Again, anything can happen. The price could always make a lower low here and still do this, and so you have to bear that in mind. Okay, and of course, you know, like anything can happen with the price action. Like, this is what I'm saying. You could end up with a massive inverse head and shoulders. Like, no one really knows what's going to happen. There's so many things that could happen. But I think the minute you lose that trend line, I'd start getting really bearish. So we're not there yet. And to become bullish, I'd want to see that trend line reclaimed. It doesn't have to be immediately, just at some point in time. You lose a line bearish, you reclaim a line bullish. That's how I think. And so that would be my first prerequisite for getting back to bullish after we lose that descending trend line. Looking at the local price action, seeing a little bit of strength now. Yeah, let's have a look at Slurf and see what Slurf is doing. It's interesting because on HTX, Slurf is actually much higher. So the perpetuals are low. I don't know why. Yeah, Slurf still isn't showing strength. It's just doing nothing really. And I mean, this looks strong, but you know, like, it could be some kind of bear flag, you know, so you have to bear that in mind. These kind of consolidation patterns look bullish, but they're bearish if it's just forming some kind of flag for finally to break down, to continue the move, the down move. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Just because it looks strong doesn't mean it's strong. Strength is going to require a market structure change, and in the context of where we are now, I just have to take out that high, put in a higher low, and go back up. That's all that has to happen for us to begin to see strength return to Slurf. And then obviously, if you're seeing strength return to Slurf, I'll be looking to see strength return to Bitcoin as well. All right. That's my update. How does that sound? Sound good? All right, I'm going to take a short break and then I'm going to come back and have a look at some altcoins. Everyone needs a break. So give me about, be back in about 10 minutes. I need to make a phone call. Then we'll start to analyze some altcoins. Coins? Starting with Shab Udin. He wants me to look at Lai, and I'll have a look at both of them quickly and see if I can see anything interesting. All right, be right back. 10 minutes. I'm back. Shab, are you here? Shabuddin? I'm having my lunch at my desk. I'm seeing a little bit of action here on Slurf. You see that? We had a lot of volume in the sell here and the buy. That's good. Now that doesn't mean someone has bought. It could just mean someone has taken big profit. Okay, so don't think that just because you see a green candle with a large amount of volume that that's actually a new position. That could just be someone who's had a big short and they've just closed their short. Yeah, it's a good sign, but it doesn't, they can be quite deceptive. We're still kind of just trying to see what happens here on Slurf. All eyes are on Slurf. That's the way I see it. All right, I'm going to have a look at TRVL first. So after my video yesterday, we had a little bit of defense. I saw a little bit of defending here on TRVL. I'll show you what I mean. You see here these flat lines, they're limit orders. Yeah, so you can clearly see that some people are putting limit orders and they're trying to just absorb the price. And ultimately what happens is eventually here, these are market orders. Ideally, people need to continue putting limit orders because you do market orders and when people sell, there's still not enough liquidity to hold the price up. And so naturally, we need limit orders to absorb the price. And the more we get that, the more buoyant this is going to be. Once the limit orders are done, if people decide to sell, the price will drop, like you see. Eventually, you need to absorb the selling. Now, I'm not suggesting people do this if they can't. Ultimately, we need the market to prove itself. Yeah. If TRVL hasn't got the capability of holding these prices, then fundamentally it comes down to not enough demand right now to take this up. Okay. I think going down is a little bit weak. Yeah, and we have to see if we have a buy up after that. Everything's got everything to do with Bitcoin. Yeah, so naturally if people start seeing Bitcoin pump, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get people buy again. Yeah, and it's going to happen with all the altcoins. Once people are confident that Bitcoin is now going up, everything here changes. So what we're seeing here is a reaction to Bitcoin and Bitcoin's weakness. And so actually the market sentiment is weak. There's not enough strength yet in this project on its own to hold for higher prices on its own. So we're still quite dependent on the wider crypto market. Maybe that's going to change in the future. In the future, I can envisage a future where every day we're processing hundreds and hundreds of transactions, and there's going to be a real world value correlation between TRVL, between real world bookings and TRVL. That one, then you break the correlation with, you don't break the correlation with Bitcoin, but you are able then to defend decreases in price, because now you have a real world business that's buying up the price on the market. So it isn't just, it's nothing to do with market sentiment. It's got everything to do with the business flourishing and functioning as a real world business. Okay, so we're not there yet. If you look at something like the Binance coin, yeah, look how resilient Binance coin has been. Look how buoyant Binance coin has been. Why has Binance coin been behaved so strong? Because it reflects a real world business. Effectively, this is the currency of the Binance exchange, and also of the Binance smart chain. Yeah, so that's why. So even though Bitcoin goes down, look how buoyant and look how strong Binance coin is behaving. Okay. And effectively, you know, just because most of crypto is connected to Bitcoin, it doesn't mean that you can't get tokens which break the correlation. I think Binance is a really strong one. Looking at the price action of Binance, had a very flat correction since the last bull market. This is pretty flat. See that? It's quite flat. It got to a peak of there about 700. It came all the way back down to 187. It wasn't a big drop in value, 73%, not much. And you see now it's reclaimed, it's got back all of the losses. It's reclaimed most of the losses. There aren't many people who have this coin who are underwater. Most people on this coin are comfortably sitting in their profits, and this has got everything to do with their business, their real world business. So I think we're not there. Obviously, we're not there yet with TRVL. That future is coming. And right now, anyone who's accumulating is extremely early. And we just have to wait for the future. We just have to wait for the future and see what happens and let the future happen. I continue to see posts, Crypto Tony. He's very adamant about no, that's not him, that's a fake one. This is the one. He's very adamant about some kind of AI summer. I see him. Look, AI season fast approaches. We'll share a few of my hottest picks. He obviously hasn't got TRVL in the list, but it doesn't matter. Hey, look at him, AI. So he's very kind of perpetually insistent on some kind of AI future in crypto. And that's what you want to see, you know, a guy who's got a ton of followers talking about AI. If there is some kind of AI summer, then maybe we can catch that wave. So with these kind of low liquid tokens, they're only low liquid in the lows. You have to bear that in mind. So we're a small micro cap token, very small market cap. Once we kind of 10x, it's not going to be that illiquid anymore. It's going to be much more liquid. Obviously, all tokens, if you compare TRVL to any 15, 16, 17 million market cap token, you're going to get exactly the same illiquidity. Okay, I think TRVL is one of the good ones in that respect. But obviously, the higher we go, the better that's going to become. If people are looking for a safe entry, if people are not comfortable with just buying into what they perceive as weakness, that's fine. like I've said before, just wait until this outer trend line breaks. You'll have to buy at market, and if you want to buy a big position, you'll move the market, you'll push the price up, you know. So it's going to be very difficult to fill a larger position on a break if you're waiting for the break. And so that's probably what will happen. There'll probably be a break, and then you're going to get a lot of people jump in, and you're going to get a really impulsive move. I think it's just always a better strategy to dollar cost average in, and if people are bullish, then I think we want a bullish chart, and to create a bullish chart, we need to try and hold the lows. We need to try and defend the lows, but obviously let the market do what it does. I can see that there's still quite a lot of volume coming in on these candles, almost as much volume in the last 12 hours as the previous 12 hours. Not almost as much. That was 2.9 million. This is 1.8. There's nearly 2 million. There was a 2 million volume. It was bears are in control, but you see how the price is struggling to go down. Okay, and now already in the last 12 hours we have pretty much the same volume. The price has only moved down 1.3%. The $2 million worth of volume, almost $2 million worth of volume, that equates to $2 million. How much does that equate to at these prices? It's about $100,000 worth of volume just in the last 12 hours and the previous 12 hours on Bybit. Look at KuCoin is usually the one that does quite high volume too. Not much actually. KuCoin has been quite low volume relatively speaking in comparison. Gate, low volume relatively speaking. Nexi, that was the kind of stupid sell. That's been relatively low. Actually right now you can clearly see that Bybit is where the volume is, and Bybit is driving the price, even though Mex probably initiated this sell-off with that crazy sell. It's like all someone had to do was sell it on Bybit and they would have got much better exit because there's more liquidity here. You can clearly see that there's quite a lot of volume coming in and the price is struggling to get down. So let's see what happens. If we can hold this low, and if Bitcoin can do its thing, then that's going to be really great. Otherwise, we probably have to see how this pans out and corrects. I don't think this is a head and shoulders pattern. I think this is more likely to be some kind of rounding top. If you're thinking about patterns, to me, this is more of a rounding top than a head and shoulders, simply because we haven't taken the low yet. Usually with a head and shoulders, you need to put in a lower low, then a lower high, and then continue that break. Okay, so I'm not seeing that, so I'm more inclined to think this is more of a rounding top. And you know, in TRVL, it's not uncommon to see rounding tops, rounding bottoms. It seems to be quite a bit of a trend. See here, this is a rounding top here. See that? Broke the neckline, and look what happened. Rejection and immediately up. So I'd be interesting to see what happens after this if we do break this neckline. Do we immediately go up? You know, I'd be interested to see that. I can't predict what's going to happen. I'm just interested to see. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, let's see. I think the week has to end. We still have this major fib line. It looks like we've lost it, but we haven't back tested it. See, there's been no back test of this line, and the lower we go, the more liquidity there is, the more interest there is for people to pick up this token. I mean, if you're looking at the token now and you're thinking, damn, 5.2, I think 5.2 is a really good price. But imagine if you wake up tomorrow and the price is at 3 cents. Do you buy? If it's the 2 cents, do you buy? Of course you do, you know, because it hasn't, you know, we haven't traded there for such a long time. It just means that some crazy people sold and you buy that up, you know. If Tesla tomorrow, their cars are like 50% off, would you buy one? It's the same with anything. If you look on the on the flights. You're looking for a flight to Tokyo, looking at the prices, you're probably looking at it and they're saying it's like $1,000. You wake up tomorrow and it's like $400 or $500. Do you buy? Of course you do. You buy. Yeah, when you see something reduces in price suddenly, unexpected reduction in value, in price, it's a reduction, it's a discount. And as long as the sentiment is still positive, that's all that really matters. I think on the most part, the sentiment is positive with regards to this token. The wider sentiment is probably a little bit negative, and that's probably what's happening right now. And we just need the sentiment to change. Yeah, like I'm waking up this morning, I'm feeling a little bit bearish. So yeah, my sentiment is bearish. What does that mean? That means I'm not aggressively buying coins because my sentiment is bearish. It reflects, the sentiment has a direct reflection in the way I behave. And so when I see that Bitcoin isn't as strong as I need it to be, then I'm going to hesitate, because I'm concerned that we could see lower prices with low liquidity coins, with low liquid coins like TRVL. That's a golden opportunity, because it means you can buy without pushing the price and you can accumulate larger portions of TRVL. If you think about TRVL and the number of tokens in circulation, let me have a look. It says 307 million in circulation. I know for a fact that most of them are not in circulation. So if I go to the Dtravel homepage, have a look at the token. You can see now, oh, I like that. They've done, oh, look at this. This is interesting. Oh, wow, this is new. I've never seen this before. This is exciting. I like seeing exciting things, shiny things. Where are we now? May. So you see, look, so at the end of April, look, 146 is in the community treasury. 160 million is in the growth fund. How does that work? It doesn't even add up. I don't know how this works, honestly. What the hell? I'm a bit confused, actually. Don't know. I have no idea. Let me take a bite of my sandwich while I try and figure this out. Well, look, it's pretty easy. Look, the strategic sale 1 and 2 and 3, the top ones. Oh my god, that was spicy. Excuse me. Um, 25 plus 70 plus 100. What is that? That's 195 million. Is locked. I mean, it's not locked, it's already out. Look at that. It's fit, it's out. So that's in circulation. So that's 195. And according to this, by the end of May, there's going to be another 23 in circulation from the contributors. Okay. So let me just work that out. 195 plus, so that's 218. So 218 million are in circulation according to this. And then the rest are not in circulation, because the rest just go into the Foundation Community Treasury and Growth Fund. And then you do get the contributors over a period of time. So let's say by the end of 25, you're going to have an additional, from where we are now, from 23, it goes from 23 to 60. So it goes from 23. So another 30, 27, 20, another 27 million will come out into circulation. The rest are locked in the foundation, the community, and the growth fund. Now, that's not to say that some of that the tokens from the growth fund doesn't go into circulation because of the rewards. Yeah, but because we're at the beginning of the journey, I imagine that most of that is not in circulation. Like we've only just begun. I'm imagining that most of the foundation reserve has to be accessed only by a vote anyway. So really, the only accessible treasuries are the growth fund and the community treasury. So at the current, based on what I can currently ascertain, 218 or so are in circulation. All right, that's it. So we only really need 200 people to buy 1 million TRVL and take it off the market. That's all we need. Really, it's not that difficult. We just need 200 people to buy 1 million TRVL, the current price. That's about $52,000. I guess that's quite a lot for a lot of people, but we only need 100 people, 200 people to buy 1 million TRVL, and it'd be so illiquid at these prices that it would go up really fast. That's food for thought. Do I have 200 volunteers willing and able to buy 1 million TRVL at these prices? That's a good question. I can't answer that. But I think we're you know, like, I think these drops are illiquid drops. I don't think they're liquid drops. Yeah, so someone is looking to sell and their market's selling, and that's just basically an indication of the lack of liquidity. I'm trying to address this problem, and I don't know if the problem has to be solved with market makers, or I don't know. I can't answer. I think there's a real problem that still hasn't been addressed. I'm trying to see how we can address that. Ultimately, I think market makers need to create liquidity for the market, and I can tell you that they're probably not at the moment doing a great job, and so we have to address that issue. If people have the same kind of concern, I think it would be good if people could go into Telegram, yeah, and also post some of their thoughts about this liquidity problem we have. You see this sell yesterday on MEX. This is a real, I think this is problematic. Like, I really do. I don't think this is a job well done on whoever is making the market here. That's 1 million in that candle, and that's basically about $50,000, and the price dropped 21%. I think that's problematic. I find that problematic because it just shows you that the market makers are doing a really poor job at creating and providing liquidity for this market. There has to be a solution, and we have to come together and figure out what the solution is as a DAO. I'm not criticizing anyone. I don't think Dtravel are at fault at all. I just think that we need to brainstorm an actual solution that's going to solve this problem. I don't know what the solution is myself. I know that for the price to drop with a $50,000 volume. That's all it is, really. $50,000 worth of volume caused the price of TRVL to come down 22%. I think that's a problem. Like, no one can look at that and go, that's not a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem that now has to be fixed somehow as a matter of priority, because I think that this is the problem that we're experiencing. Why are we getting such a pullback? Is because of, I think it's a very illiquid market. You know, at the moment Bybit is the most liquid, but even with Bybit, with small amounts, we're still able to move the price. I think Dtravel needs to provide liquidity for the market. Yeah, I think there's a large amount of tokens locked away. I think they probably need to unlock some of those tokens and create liquidity for the markets. That's probably what needs to happen. That's what I'm thinking. And so I'm going to have a conversation with them, but it'd be good if anyone's watching me will also raise this issue in the Telegram. Rather than just having all those tokens locked away, why not provide liquidity for the market? Why not create liquidity? Allow people to buy and sell. It's really easy. I mean, it's It's not putting it in circulation, it's just providing liquidity. That's what I'm thinking. So anyway, we have to see what happens, right? I'm not telling people to catch a falling knife. If you think this is a falling knife, then I'm really not telling you to catch the falling knife. I've always said let the price settle. Yeah, let the price settle. And many times I've said, usually when you see the price form like little rounding bottoms, that's probably a good time to start buying. So I'm not telling people to catch a falling knife, but if people are bullish, then it would be better to put limit orders. But if people are just waiting, then wait for the selling to stop. Yeah, so let people stop selling. Yeah, and when you see kind of a little bit of a rounding bottom, yeah, if you want, you can start buying. But again, it causes problems because that's how people buy. People buy with market, and if you don't have follow through to change market structure, then all you do is you fall back. Yeah, and so that's why in circumstances like this, if people are looking to buy, it's hard because you're worried that the price could drop, but it would be better to put limit orders and absorb the selling, yeah, and prevent the sellers from getting the price down any further than they already have. You see on Bybit's the one with the volume, and we're still by a fraction, literally holding a low, higher low. Is that low going to be taken? I have no idea. I can't tell you if it is or not, but it could be. Look at all that volume. Clearly, some people are selling all of their stack. There's a lot of buying and selling going on here. Eventually, you'd expect it to end, right? Eventually, look how much volume is. I could probably sit down and calculate this. Yeah, eventually, you'd expect this volume to end. There can't be that many more tokens out there. 12 million, 9. These red ones, I'll count these red ones. 12, 9, 21, 25, 4, 5, 35, 55, 65, 75. Yeah. All right. So that's a TRVL. Any thoughts or any kind of comments? Feel free to feed back to me. Again, we have to see how the weekly closes. We have to see how the monthly closes. I think all eyes will be on the monthly candle, and of course, everything has got everything to do with Bitcoin. Yeah. Right now, that's what everyone is looking for: Bitcoin to stop being weak. Yeah. And while there was a little bit of strength here, the market isn't stupid. They know that this isn't enough. This price action isn't enough. Now what needs to happen is take out that high. If that happens, I think everything changes. Yeah, that's a change of market structure on the 4-hour time frame. If we go up now on Bitcoin and take out that high at 65.5, then I think people are going to be aggressively buying their altcoins. Yeah, so we just have to wait for that to happen to see strength return to the whole crypto market. All right, so that's TRVL. Looking at the BTC chart, I haven't really looked at it much. What is this? I mean, basically, we're in a range. We've always been in a range. I haven't said anything other than that, and it's going up and down. There's lots of areas of interest where the price is finding support and resistance, but the reality is this is the range. Let me just hide it. We're back at the point of control. Yeah, so we're back at a really good place to buy TRVL. This is like if you have Bitcoin and you want to buy a TRVL, this is basically the right place. The reason why the point of control is the right place, because the point of control will always acts as a magnet. So even if you go down, it will come back up. And usually if it goes up, it comes back down, which you can see it's clearly. It has acted as support for many weeks. And now we're back at it again. So actually it's a good place to buy TRVL. This is the right place. I can't tell you that the price isn't going down, but looking at the price action, you can see that there's a lower range here, and then we have a higher range here, which we're at the bottom of the higher range. I don't know how far it goes. And maybe there's a little dividing range in the middle here. This is like, we're at the bottom of the middle range, and then there's this lower range which we haven't actually got back into. We've only been there for an extended period once, put in a bunch of volume there. It is possible, it's always possible that the price goes down and we put in a ton of volume here, and the point of control moves to the bottom here, and the value area moves again. It's very possible. Yeah, eventually what people are thinking to themselves is, when is alt season? When is this going to go parabolic? When is TRVL going to make me rich? Well, it'll be easy to see. Quite simply, we need to go up, flip the value area high into support, flip the all-time high into support, and head into a price discovery against Bitcoin. Literally, that's how this is where you're going to get higher prices. Yeah, up there. Price discovery against Bitcoin is when the magic begins. And at the moment, we're just in an accumulation range, a multi-year accumulation range. And I'll be honest with you, I think TRVL is looking quite strong against Bitcoin. It doesn't look weak at all. Okay, I think this is looking quite strong. There's a lot of interest, and we're above the point of control. When I look at other tokens against Bitcoin, I see a lot of weakness. Like when you look at AVA, this is Dtravel. Look, you see, it's considerably weaker. It's underneath the value area. The point of control is much higher. It's considerably weaker. It's failed to get back into the value area. I see that a lot with a lot of coins when you compare them against Bitcoin. Maybe not Solana. Okay, Solana is obviously an exception. There's a few exceptions, I'll be honest with you, so I can't deny that either. But let me just see here if I can see any that come to mind. What is this, 1 inch? So let me see. Just overall weakness against Bitcoin. I think TRVL has held up quite well. What's this, Alice? Look at that, same. Ape, look at that, exactly the same. Atom, look at that. Is that strong? No, it's not strong. It's weak. You can see the weakness. What's this, Bake? Don't know what it is, but it's weak. Cake is weak in considering it's underneath the point of control. You see TRVL is on top of the point of control. So TRVL is, in my mind, TRVL is stronger than Cake. And also, we don't have this problem with Cake where you have all of this trap liquidity which hasn't yet been cleared. What else is there? Let me just have a look. What is this? Casper. Oh, look at that. Crazy weakness. Like, I thought it could go up, but it didn't. It went down. I'm not always right. You know, you have these ideas. Actually, the long would have been invalidated. So that was an easy invalidation. You see that it would have been validated quite easily. Again, this is weak. Weakness, weakness, weakness. I think when you're comparing all of these, Crow, look at Crow. What is that like? Again, weakness. It's all weak. All of these tokens are showing weakness. Crow is the token for crypto.com. Weak. Casper, what else is that? Polkadot, look at that. Weak. Nothing is strong. Look at that. ETH, again weak. So when you compare all of these tokens to TRVL, yeah, then actually I don't think this is that weak. I'm not thinking that TRVL is that weak. I'm thinking that of all of these tokens that I'm looking at, for me, TRVL is the most, one of the better ones, yeah? And you know, altcoins across the board are just generally quite weak against Bitcoin right now. And that whole situation changes when Bitcoin gets into the price discovery and pumps, and then you have potentially have a future alt season. So I think all in all, TRVL is looking quite strong. We're just back at the bottom of the range at the point of control. For all intents purposes, you can argue that we've gone up. We're now back down. Let's go back up. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm imagining. Let's just range until we can finally figure out how we can break the highs. Okay. If we do go lower, it just means that we're still in the range. You know, like, it doesn't mean that we're going to go down. We just, everything is range bound until it's not. So right now, what's the range? Well, that's the range. I know. 50% is basically where the point of control is. See that? That's midpoint. That's the top of the range. This is the bottom of the range. There's the value area. We've come back underneath the 236. We haven't yet done that. We're just about to do that on the USDT chart, but wait for it to close, and we're actually back into the point of control and the value area low. This is actually quite a strong area of support, and so let's just see how that plays out. Like, I would never sell here. Like, if people are looking to sell, this is not the place to sell. This is actually the place to buy. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to go down or up, but this is the right place to buy. Like, if you're going to buy, this is the right place. Yeah. And eventually, like I said, we have to get into the top part of the range, flip that into support, then try and fill that. I think we'll fill the top part quite quickly because it came down quite quickly. There isn't really much volume up there. And then you have to flip the top into support for continuation. And that will be our parabolic move. This is our parabolic move. Basically, I think when we flip the value area high into support, then we're looking to begin our parabolic move, because there's not much volume here. The price descended very quickly, so it should ascend very quickly, and then you just flip the top into support, and that's when we fetch higher prices, right? And we just have to wait for that to happen. It's just going to require patience and continuous development of the Dtravel application and everything that that they're building with at Dtravel. A lot of things are still yet to be released, so once that happens, I think we'll be looking at a different situation. Looking at TRVL against ETH, it's pretty much the same, not much difference. I think against ETH it's a little bit more buoyant. See, we haven't even come back to the point of control. It looks like it's a lot stronger against ETH. Exactly the same idea. You just have to get back above the value area, flip it as support, head to higher prices, just flip every level to support, and then you can have a parabolic move against ETH. Probably this will happen when ETH starts pumping too, to be honest with you, and that will be against Bitcoin. You've got a very strong, powerful volume candle here. The price is still within the context of that candle. So for all intents purposes, all of the price action over the last 10, 12 weeks, whatever, has been an inside range bound price action inside that long green gravestone. I think it's a gravestone doji. All right, so that's ETH. Any questions on that? I'm gonna have a bite of my sandwich. All right. Is Shab Udin, are you here? Because if you're here, I'm gonna look at your tokens, and if you're not, then I probably won't. I think Shab is here. Okay. Let me have a look at Jasmine again. See if I did it. Oh, look at that. Real sell-off yesterday. Weekly level, lost the weekly level. Wow. Jasmine's showing weakness, sir. But still, it's still kind of range bound in the highs. Look at FTM. Everything's dropping. Look at that. Since yesterday, everything's dropped. FTM had to get above this 50% mark. It failed. It's failing. Look at that one. Macro. All right. Oh my God. The whole market is weak, huh? That's what I see right now. And fundamentally, what's happened is that until Bitcoin shows some real strength, it's going to be problematic. Look at the order flow. Yeah, a little bit of bearish divergence here. A long close there. That was a big long closing. This long is underwater here. If Slurf can do something for us, that will be amazing. Slurf, lead the way for us. Take us to new highs. Make us millionaires. Show us the way, Slurf. Let's go. Take out that high. Let's go. Otherwise, actually what I could do with Slurf is I can have a look at Radium. Nope. What's interesting about Dex Screener is you can see the buys and sells. So look, you see here, we've got more buys, but percentage wise, we've got more sell volume, more buyers, but more sell volume. And here you can, it's quite interesting here because you can see this data, buying and selling. Look, this guy 6 minutes ago, he sold 8,000 USD of Slurf. What the hell? 27,000. He sold it. Wow. And then you've got like some small people buying, lots of small buys, lots of buying, lots of selling. Really what you want to look for is the whales. You want to look for the whales. There's a whale. He's sold. Look at what the whales are doing. They're selling. The small fish are buying, but the whales are the ones who are selling. See that? Oh God, what do I do? I don't really know what this means, to be honest with you. I'm just making this shit up. But I do see that some whales are selling. All the whales are selling. And the plankton are buying. Oh, here's a few whales buying. That was 1 hour and 2 minutes ago. Let me see if that's the same one. Is that the same guy? Look. Oh God, this is so unhelpful. This is like rubbish. What is this shit? He's got a total balance of 405k. He's got 190 tokens. Damn. He's got a lot of tokens, huh? What is this? American coin? Bank, Jupiter, cats in a dog world. Cheap PP. Popcat. Book of Meme. You almost have to like follow these guys and buy their random shit and hope for the best. Like $4 in smog. He's probably going to become a multi-millionaire because of this $4 in smog. So he's only got $4 of slurf. So he's probably sold all his slurf. I think. Let me see. Yeah, but it says buy. I don't understand. Buy. Let's have a look at this whale. Oh, his balance is lower. It doesn't have high balance and slow. Some soul DJ and gambler. But they don't have high balance. I don't understand this. This says buy, but what are they buying? This guy bought $200 worth. Listen, now let's go recently. Any whales? No. This is a whale that's selling. Let's see. He sold $875 worth of slurf. Does he have any? He's run out. He's got no more slurf. It's finished. So that's interesting. The whales are selling. Let me see this dolphin. Any shark? Maybe a shark. This shark is buying. This dolphin bought a lot here, like $2,000 worth. Let's have a look at this guy. He's got 39k of slurf. That's good, huh? This guy he's going for it. He's got $10,000 worth of slurf. Wow. That's his biggest position. Look. I think. This guy's bullish. Okay, another buy. Rubbish. What about this one? That was the same guy. Let's have a look at the USD above 10,000. Let's have a look at that. All right. This is 1 hour ago. $81,000 worth. That was a buy by this guy. Let's have a look. Oh, this guy's got a shit ton of slurf. Look at him. He's like, he wants to become a millionaire. He's got 298k of slurf. Wow. He's going for it. That's basically his only position here. That was 1 hour and 7 minutes ago. He did it. That was one big buyer. Look. And this guy, let's have a look at this guy. Can't tell. What the hell? Doesn't say. These are big sales. That was the big one, huh? 1 hour and 8 minutes ago. Let's have a look at the price action 1 hour and 8 minutes ago. $11.44 minus 8.36. There you go. That was him. See, the price went up. A big candle. That guy bought that. So he's already down 0.5%. It's normal. Okie dokie. I might not do any more analysis actually because I've got to go and do some stuff. I'll try. I'm trying to do altcoins, but I think it's almost pointless until Bitcoin starts doing something, because if Bitcoin crashes, there's literally no hope for anyone. Like, there's none of this analysis is gonna make any sense. It has to hold. Bitcoin has to hold here, and we have to go up, really. Otherwise, we have to hit that 382. It's at a good place to go up right now. I've got that Fibber trace anyway. I think we're in a good place to find support, to be honest with you. I'm not expecting this to go down. Yeah, not right now. We haven't tested this value area low. We haven't tested this 382. And we have this trend line as well. So I think we should go up. I think that would make more sense. I'm not fond of this 12-hour candle, like I already explained. This next 12-hour candle is going to be really important, because you're looking at some kind of gravestone doji. Yeah. So the next one has to be green. This next one has to be green and has to be up. And basically it has to close above that candle there. Yeah. And then you can just reverse it. Then this whole idea of closing back in this candle is fine. So there's only one chance that we can do this. That's the next 12 hours. The problem is that if this is a break and a hold, then it's also the best place to sell. That's the problem. But again, the problem, I first would want to see support lost. Like, I wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't just sell that candle, because I'm looking at that support, I'm looking at that trend line, and I'm looking at I'm also looking at that speed fan. See that? And I'm looking at those volume levels. So I think for all intents and purposes, this is the right place to to buy. So yeah, I'm going to be buying. I'm going to try and buy. And then just the key is just to have an invalidation. Where is my volume? That's it. Right, so looking at this price action now, let's zoom in a bit. Swing failure. New York Open, let's go up. Excuse me. Why not? Let's go all the way up to the 236. I mean, who knows how far it could go, but you also have this one-to-one idea. But I think it should just hold here. Swing failure. Something like that. Okay, let's see if that works. David, you got that? All right. Hope you guys have a good day. I think I'm going to go. Got some stuff to do. It's almost 1 here. And if I see anything, I'll post it. Definitely keep an eye on Slurf. If you suddenly see uncontrollable weakness on Slurf, then just hesitate on taking longs on Bitcoin. Yeah, can't really tell. Can't really tell. It's pretty overextended. You want this to break, really. It has a, I mean, you can argue it's already broken. Look. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Thanks, Gary.